Hello, story fans. It's your old pal, the Writing Ref. I don't hate, I just officiate your favorite movies. Now, my thumbnail is a pretty big boast, but I challenge anyone to find a movie critic or a YouTuber who understood the point of this movie. I'm a storyteller, but Masters of the Universe has a unique theme, and nobody's talking about it. What makes nostalgia healthy, or what makes it toxic? I'm going to lightly spoil Masters of the Universe if you have not seen it yet. So, if you don't want to know anything major about the film, or you don't want to know anything at all, just know that it's criminally not making a lot of money right now, and you should go see it because it's worth seeing in the theater. It looks like a lot of it's going to take place on Earth again. That is a mislead and a misadvertise, because it takes place mostly on a fantasy world that you can't see anywhere else but the big screen. So, let's have a good journey.
There's an old Eternian saying: live the journey, for every destination is but a doorway to another. Good journey.
With some light spoilers as we stick around for after the intro.
Chicken jockey. I have the power!
The best mythologies change over time. And yes, Masters of the Universe is a mythology. It's a mythology designed to sell toys. And as a kid, it worked on me. I had almost all the toys. I had Grayskull. I had Snake Mountain. My parents went all out one Christmas, and I got just about the whole thing. I loved He-Man, and I even have the movie castle back there for the popcorn bucket. But this film does something completely new with the franchise, and yet it pulls from every single property that came before it, through the comic books that came with the toys, all the way up through Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe series on Netflix. A very underappreciated series, by the way, because of certain online backlash for no reason. But He-Man's mother has always, from the very beginning of the cartoon, been an astronaut named Marlena Glenn, who came from Earth. That's a play on the name John Glenn. And there were a few episodes in that original series where He-Man learned that he was from Earth, and he even had to protect Earth one time.
There's Earth. Earth. So that's where my mother came from.
But still, He-Man's largest trip and longest trip to Earth took place in the 1987 movie, where, infamously, this happened.
Well done.
But surprisingly, in that film, the only other time that he spends all that time on Earth, they had a perfect reason for the cosmic key to send everyone to Earth, but they never bothered with King Randor or Marlena in that movie. Probably because that would have been too many characters and actors to pay, which is kind of odd because they actually debated putting She-Ra into that first movie instead of the ill-fated sequel that she probably never got to appear in. But in this summer's Masters of the Universe, Adam has a normal world as a child in Eternia, and it's right here on the hero's journey, on this graph that I like to show as part of my logo. When Skeletor's forces overwhelm the kingdom.
That's it. I finished.
Of course, my lord.
When I raise my fist like that, I'm done.
Yes.
That is the crescendo.
We'll know for the future, my lord.
Adam escapes alone to the homeworld of his mother through a portal opened by Lorena Bachrang's sorceress. Here, he has his inciting incident, has his call to adventure, and he attempts to answer the call, even as a young 10-year-old. But, and this is the key, he loses the sword. What does losing the sword represent? It's not on purpose, but it's a rejection of the call. Often the rejection of the call is something like Luke Skywalker's famous, "Oh, I've got to stay here and help my uncle with the farming. I promised." But in this case, sometimes fate handles the rejection of the call, and because Adam loses the sword, the rejection of the call to action phase of this hero's journey is perhaps the longest in cinema history. I challenge anyone, if you can find any story where the hero rejects the call to action for more than 15 years, let me know, because this may be a record. I think that the interruption in the story of having this long of a rejection, a call to action, where there's a B plot where Adam struggles with a roommate. He has a human resources job with a boss that's a little bit too liberal, and he can't get a girlfriend because he keeps trying to convince people that he's from this amazing place and they think he's crazy. And this might have caused a lot of her other writing referees and critics to call foul. In fact, some of the ones that I follow on YouTube seem to do that. But this leads us into the main theme, nostalgia, and how to call upon our old memories in a healthy way. How does this story do this? First, understand that in this film, Adam completes his entire hero's journey. Again, here's my favorite graphic. He hits every point on the fabled golden path. Travis Knight and his writing team really understand the Monomyth, and He-Man, admittedly, is a perfect chance to hit each step in the most obvious way, especially if you're a fan of Campbell. Please, I won't spoil anything here, but the first person that can put in the comments the correct step-by-step Monomyth for Masters of the Universe will get a big shout out in my next video. So Adam is a character, and by the way, if you like this video, you should like and subscribe, and you should share. I'm pretty much here on YouTube, but you can find my website at www.travishightower.net, which will lead you to all sorts of fun storytelling. I'm a represented author. Been writing for more than 20 years, and I am trying to get published the hard way, which is through traditional publishing. And sometimes even being represented, your stories have to find the right time to get approved. So that's my boon that I'm after. But Adam, oh boy, Adam, in this movie is a character constantly looking for the wrong boon, a sword, a girlfriend, anyone at all to believe him that he's from this other world. For some reason, he really wants that roommate to believe him. I don't know why. He has drawings and pictures from when he was a kid all over his room and kept in a special box. And some of his drawings are a little more recent, and they don't get much better as an adult. But so Adam in this movie is a literal child trapped in a man's body because he never moved on or grew up from the moment that he arrived on Earth. And that is toxic nostalgia. Have you ever known anyone who remembers their high school football days as the best days of their life? Perhaps they didn't play football, but they still treat their relationships and the importance of their social status like they did in high school. At some point for Adam, his memories fade and his imagination has to take over. So instead of remembering the real names of people, he remembers the names that he gave them as a child. Fisto, Mechanic, Ram Man. It's played for clever joke in the movie. And most critics I watch online never scratch below the surface of that this is a clever joke, but it's actually toxic nostalgia. It's a rose-colored version of the truth, rose-colored glasses. Now, eventually, this toxic nostalgia, he learns to turn it into healthy nostalgia. And that's the part where I'm going to have to kind of dance around spoilers, but I still don't want to give too much away because too many of you have not seen this movie yet. So I'll only speak in terms of the Monomyth to say that Adam, after he makes it through his lowest point, through the belly of the beast, and he has his road of trials, he has a reconciliation with the Father. Now, in easy character development terms, if you're not familiar with reconciliation with the Father, he's at his lowest point. But it leads to an apotheosis, or a eureka moment, where he understands that even though he still can't, that he's lost so much and he still can't remember the names of his childhood heroes, Adam is able to take what used to be a hyper-realistic, stylized version of his childhood and redefine it for these people, these real people, as yet unrealized potential. So the heroes are in their darkest moment. This rallies the heroes in their darkest moment. Ultimately, this optimism, the friends we made along the way, if you will, is what wins the day. But then it digs a little deeper than that because Adam still has to realize that his quest was never for a magic sword. And I do need to get me one of those swords. I have Link's sword as a stand-in, but it's no sword power. Let's be honest. The Master Sword is great, but yeah, they can't turn me into a muscle man. So Adam still has to realize his quest isn't about a sword, it's about a transition to adulthood, which every hero's journey is. But he in particular has to face the symbol of his fear, like a man. And he's able, even though he doesn't want to, and that's important, but he's able to become a master of both worlds, or a master of the universe, if you will, by having a more realistic view of what a man should be, without losing his childlike wonder or compassion. In fact, the message of healthy nostalgia is being able to tap into our inner child. We can keep loving all these toys, these comic books, all the fun that we had growing up. But as we mature, we use that childlike wonder as a reminder of what can so easily be lost when the hard lessons of life hit. And in realizing this, we move forward and get stuck in the past, and we inspire a better world or a universe. Isn't that right, He-Man? That's right! Writing Ref, until next time, away, Battle Cat! And that is why I highly recommend this film. It's deeper than you think. I'm the Writing Ref, and until next time, good journey.